Yes. Now the next topic, that is next form of business, that is joint stock company. It's very important because this form of organization is mostly suitable when the businessman or when the business activities are to be performed on a large scale. Then that form of business, company form of organization is most suitable for that purpose. It has advantage also because they can attract the huge amount of capital from public by issuing share, debenture and all. And with that capital, the huge amount of capital, adequate capital, they are able to employ a well-trained, experienced and educated person, those who run the business activity efficiently and effectively. So with the definition, that is the meaning. I am giving the definition of the joint stock company, that it is a artificial person having a separate legal existence, perpetual succession, that is continuous succession, and a common seal which is introduced by law, that means that is to be formed by law, that is to be considered as joint stock company. That is clear to everyone. Now I am going to make you understand, to make you more understand, we are going through with the features of joint stock company. First feature, that is separate legal existence. As I have told you, a company has a separate legal entity, means the company, they are carried out their business in its own name. Even they can buy or sell the assets of the company in its own name, and even if they entered into any of the contract with outsider, they will enter it with their own name, its own name. That is clear. It means to say the company will be separated from its member. That is clear. Okay. Next, I am going to tell you next feature, that is artificial person. Artificial person. A company, it doesn't consider, as it doesn't have a physical body. It doesn't have a physical body. Like us, like human being. So that's why it is to be created artificially, artificial person, because it is to be created by law. Its operation are to be performed by the representative or the board of directors or the director of the company, which have been selected from the members of the organization, from the members of the board of member. That is clear. Because and he is able to control and operate the activities of the business. That is clear. Yes, the business is, although the business is running on the name of companies only, but its activities is to be operated, controlled, to managed by the board of director, that is director of the company. That is clear. Next feature, that is registration. Yes, it is obligatory, it is legally, it is compulsory for company to get itself registered under the Company Act 1956, because without registration none of the joint stock company can come into existence. That is not possible. So legally it is obligatory for everyone, those who want to establish a joint stock company, they can register their company before running the business activity. Clear? Okay. Next, that is perpetual succession. Perpetual means continuous. ठीक है ना? A company has a continuous existence without dependent of its member. As you know, the company is created by law, and law have only authority to wind up the company. Any member's death, their insolvency, their incapability or incapacity doesn't affect the existence of company. Members may come and may go, but the companies may run forever, for a lifetime, till the law is not going to allow to wind up the company. That is clear. So the life of company can come to end only through law through legal procedure. That is clear? Next that I am going to make you understand, that is common seal. Common seal. As an artificial person, company cannot sign because physically as a human being we can sign, but company cannot sign because it is to be created by law. It is an artificial person. So therefore there is a need for making a common seal which is engraved with the company's name on it, and any activity of the company carried through, as you know, the activity of the company, it is to be carried through. Who is to be perform the activity of the company? Obviously the group of people, those who are working in the organization, those who are working in the company, they are running the business activity. So anyone acting on behalf of the company, especially the representative, the director of the company, which have been selected by the who is selected by the member of the company, he can use, on behalf of the company, he can use that common seal in place of signature of the company to bind the company and to bind the company with other parties. None of the document can be bear without common seal of the company. Means company cannot bind with this without the common seal of the company. That is clear? So these are the features which make you understand better about joint stock company. Now I am going to tell you the advantage and disadvantage, the merits and demerits of the joint stock company. The coin have two faces, that every time I have told you in each and every form of business, same as it is in the joint stock company. It has some advantage, some disadvantage also. So we are going to discuss some advantage and disadvantage of the joint stock company. First advantage, that is large amount of capital. That is the biggest advantage, the most important advantage of a company for the company, because they can collect a large amount of capital by issuing the shares to the general public. Even the people, those who have less saving, those who are under the less income group and they are saving less, they can also buy the shares of the company, because the value of share is very small. It's 10 rupees, 20 rupees and all like this. That is clear? Apart from the share capital, apart from this, by issuing the shares, the capital can also be raised by the firm by raising the loan in the form of borrowed fund, by raising the loan from financial institution, from bank, and also by issuing their debenture and other securities of the company. So because of these things, the company is able to raise a large amount of capital that can be utilized for running the activity of the smooth activity of the business of the company. That is clear? Next, that is limited liability. Yes, if I am talking about the liability of the members, the liability of the members of the company form of business, it's limited to the extent of the capital which they have contributed as a share capital in the company. Means the many people, they are investing more, and some are they are investing less also. But if in case of loss, if the company is incurring loss, at that time the creditor cannot claim over the personal assets of the or over the personal property of the members for settle down their account. He can settle his account only by selling the assets of the company, and the left income, the left amount, he can settle down up to the limit which can be shared by their as a share capital. That is clear? Next, that is continuity. In continuity, as you know, the company form of business it enjoy a continuous succession, a continuous existence in the economy. As you know, it has a separate legal existence, legal, and it is to be formed by law. Law have allowed, and by only legal process the company can be wind up. Without, none of the member of the company can dissolve the company process, dissolve the activity of the business. The death, insolvency or incapacity of any of the member will not affect, doesn't affect the existence of company. So it becomes the advantage of that form of business, because members can go and join and leave the company, but they are not having authority to wind up it. That is clear. Next that I am going to tell you, that is growth and expansion. Growth and expansion. Yes, as you know, in this form of business, in company form of business, there is more scope for the expansion and growth. As you know, if the firm is incurring more and more, earning more and more revenue, more and more profit, after bearing all the expenses, after distributing dividend to all the shareholders, to all the debenture holders, obviously whatever the residual income which is left over with the company, they can keep as a retained earning. And even with a large amount that is to be raised by the company, they can utilize for expansion of the company, and it is to be utilized for the growth of the company. For example, suppose if one company is producing one line product, means producing only one product, and they will survive in the market, they are able to earn more and more profit, and their capability, what resources they are having, on the basis of that they can expand their business, they can diversify their business. Means now the company, the same company can produce another product also, that much resource they are having, that much capability they are having, so they are easily, that form of business, they can expand their business, diversify their business, as they have a huge amount of fund and retained profit. That is clear. Now I am going to make you understand the demerits of the disadvantage of the company form of business. Yes, it has some disadvantage also that we should also go through with it. So first of all, I am going to make you understand first, that is lengthy and lengthy and expensive legal procedure. For the formation of company, we have to go through with the lengthy and a complicated process. A complicated procedure is to be there. As for forming the company, many legal formalities we have to complete. Many documents we are required, we have to prepare to submit in the registrar office to get the registration. And even we have to take various permission from the government, from other institutions, to get it registered, to establish this business. So obviously, and to perform all these activities, for performing all these legal formalities, to complete all the documents, to complete all the legal, obviously we have to hire experts who is helping us to complete this whole process. And for that he is charging high fees, and even for getting the registration, the registrar will also charge high registration fees. So for that, so it will create a problem, and it will be a very lengthy and expensive legal procedure that we have to form, and for that we require a large amount of fund. So if we don't have, we are not able to. So that's why it's become a disadvantage of that form of business, because if the person or the person's group of people, they are not having huge amount of fund, they are not able to form that company form of business. That is clear. Next I am going to tell you lack of motivation. As company, it is not managed by the owner, it is to be managed by the professionals. Professional manager, that's you know it very well, and these managers, they are getting salary for their work, for their services. So there is no direct link between the efforts and reward. if the company's profit is going to be increased, the income of the manager is not going to be increased. So it creates dissatisfaction in the mind of managers, and they are not putting their best efforts, because whatever the efforts they are putting for that, and because of them only the firm is able to earn more and more profit. And if they are not getting incentives to perform efficiently and effectively, obviously it create in the mind, they will demotivated it, and this lack of motivation and incentives will not allow the manager to perform efficiently. That is clear. Next I am going to tell you, that is delay in decision. In company organization, all the important decisions are taken in board meeting. Means if any decision should be taken, firstly meeting should be conducted among the board members, and after consulting with different person, then the decision should be taken. And once the decisions are taken, then it will be communicated to the each and every or employees of the organization. That is also a lengthy process to tell each and everyone about the decision that have been taken for the, or that the objective that have been decided by the managers or the board of members. So taking this and implementing decision, it will take long process and is very lengthy process in a company, and the action will get delayed if the immediate or necessary action should be required. So that is the another disadvantage of that form of business. Now I am going to tell you conflict in interest. As you know, in company, various groups of people are working at different level of management. Even various group of people are involved, like say, shareholder, debenture holder, employees, director, supplier, many are there, and everyone, they have joined the group, they have joined the form of business, that is for their own objective, they have their own interest also. For example, if I am talking about shareholder, he is reducing the rate of debenture holder, so the leftover income is more, and it can be utilized to pay their shareholders dividend, and they will get more dividend with the leftover income. On the other hand, debenture holder, they want to increase the rate of interest, because they, as the profit increase, so we will also get it more. And the next time they are not going to invest, and they are not going to provide a fund as a debenture. So it will create problem among the members, among the group of member, and create conflict between various group. That is clear. Now I am going to make you understand. Yes, I am going to make you understand that is types of company. On the basis of ownership, the company are to be classified into three parts: private company, public company, one person company. So first of all, I am going to make you understand private company. Private company, it is a company having a minimum paid up, a company which have minimum paid up share capital, that is of 1 lakh rupees or more than it. ठीक है ना? It can be prescribed in their articles, and the member of the, means the shareholder of the firm cannot transfer their share to anyone. That is clear. If I am talking about how many member can be the limit for the minimum limit to form the private company, that is 2%, minimum 2%, and maximum 200. Maximum 200 can form the company form of business. That is clear. And the company, the private company cannot subscribe their share to the general public. That is clear to everyone. Any securities cannot be subscribed, cannot be issued to the general public. That is clear. Next, that is public company. Public company are those company which is not a private company, and their minimum paid up capital, which has their minimum paid up capital, that is 5 lakh rupees or more than it, that is which is prescribed in it, ठीक है ना. तो minimum paid up capital, that is share capital, that is 5 lakh, are to be considered as public company. That is clear. Private company are of two types. The private company, public company, these are two types: company limited by guarantee, company limited by shares. Company limited by guarantee, these company having the liability, means the member of the company having limited liability, means at the time of winding up, they will get their share. Amount, the amount which they have contributed as a share capital after winding up the company only, and they will contribute to the assets of the company in the event of winding up. Means after winding up, after selling all the assets of the company, whatever the residual income, then with that their income will be paid. So first preference should be given to the borrowed fund holders, means from whom we have borrowed, and after that it is to be paid to the member of the company. Next, company limited by shares. It means the members' liability, they have the liability that if suppose whatever the share capital, shares they have purchased, if any unpaid amount is to be there, which is held by them, so at the time of winding up, they have to pay the unpaid amount to the company, and after that they will get their share amount. That is clear. Next company, that is a new form of company, that is one-person company. According to Company Act 2013, a new type of company will exist in the economy, and it is to be considered as one-person company. One-person company, it is a company which is to be owned with only one person as its member. Means only one member is to be there, which is holding, owning, controlling all the activity of company, are to be considered as one-person company. What is the requirement of one-person company? Means whosoever one person, he is a citizen and he is residing in India, shall be eligible to get the registration of one-person company. No person will be allowed to register more than one person or become the nominee of other. Means one person can be a owner of one company, he cannot register the other company. That is clear. And it is compulsory for the one-person company to convert their company from one-person company to public or private company in certain cases. What are the cases? When their paid up share capital exceed 50 lakh rupees. At that condition, or they will convert their company into private or public when their turnover exceed 2 crore. Then at that condition they have to convert their company into public or private company. That is clear. Now the last topic that is of today, that is benefit of private company over public company. What are the benefits of private company over public company? As you know, to form a private company, only 2 members are required, whereas to forming public company, 7 members are required. If I am talking about private company, they must have only 2 directors, whereas public company, they must have minimum 3 members. It is compulsory for the private company, it is compulsory for the public company for making their performance index of member, but it is not compulsory for private company to maintain their index of its member. A private company can issue loan to their director without taking permission from the government, but it is mandatory for the public company. They must take permission from the government before taking before giving loan to the directors. One more, it is not necessary for private company to issue their prospectus, where it is necessary, an essential part for the public to issue their company's prospectus. That is clear? Yes. Now, in the next topic, we are going to study about the formation of joint stock company. Obviously, for forming the joint stock company, we have to follow some specified legal process for its formation. As for formation of the company, it requires a following steps, following stages. The first stage, that is promotion, then incorporation stage, then capital subscription stage, then commencement of business. So one by one we are going to understand all these stages that is to be followed legally for the formation of company. That is clear. Now I am going to tell you the first stage, that is promotion. In the promotion stage, it includes all the steps right from the discovery of ideas, that which type of business should be formed, that should be start from the identification of business opportunity. In this process, the activity which is to be done, that is planning and organizing of all the resources, that what we have to plan, what business we have to set up, what document we are required, it is profitable or not, and according to that we have to organize the resources which is required to form that business. That is clear. And the person, those who are performing all these activity, those who are involving in planning and organizing of all the resources which is required to form the company, he is to be considered as promoter. First of all, he discover the idea and take all the steps, all the initiative for the formation of company. Promoter, he can be a individual person, a group of person, or an institution can be considered as a promoter. Means those who are performing that activities are to be considered as promoter. Now we are going to the steps which is to be performed by the promoter for the formation of company in the promotion stage. The first step, that is identification of business opportunity. In this stage, it starts with the discovery of idea for which business we have to set up. The idea can be to set up a new business, or even the idea can be discovered for expanding the existing business. The promoter, he identify, after analyzing the idea, he identify it is profitable or not, and the resources which we require to perform the activity, that is available in that area or not. After analyzing the different resources which is required, like raw material, we will get it in that area, amount of capital, that is how much risk is to be there in that business, that all the things is to be performed in this step. That is clear. Next, that is feasibility study. If I am talking about feasibility study, means deep study of something, deep investigation of something. So after analyzing the concept which is related to the idea that has been discovered in the mind of promoter, now the next step, it start by doing the a deep investigation of that idea. Means what type of study he is going to do, that regarding the cost, how much costs to be bared by this business, this idea, is it profitable or not, what is its production process, the demand of the product. And while doing all the things, obviously a single person not having all types of talent, knowledge, so he is going to take the help of experts like chartered accountant, engineers, economists in different issues. These specialists, they make an objective for analyzing the detail which have to be collected by the promoter. Now the report of specialist, it helps the promoter to take the decision regarding the size of business, that he is going to open in large size or a small size, then location of plant, amount of capital that is required. That is clear. In feasibility study, what specialists are done first, that is technical feasibility. Sometime whatever the idea that has been discovered, it is good, but technically it may not be possible to implement, as because of lacking of non-ability of means for which business we are going to start, what idea we have thought, for that the raw material is not available in that area, inputs are not available, technology are not available. So if we are establishing without technically unfeasibly, means without technical deep study of technology, that it will be available or not, that inputs we require to perform, and even if the import cost is more for that technology, so that idea is not good. So that's why the first feasibility, that is technically feasibility, that the resources, the input, the technology that is required to perform, it is required or not. Next study, that is financial feasibility. Suppose whatever the idea we have thought for establishing the business or for expanding the existing business, the required capital or fund cannot be arranged with the available resources. With the available sources, we are not able to arrange this amount, that much amount of fund which is required to perform this business. Then it is to be considered as unfeasible financial study. For example, one may have an idea, one person, he has idea to urbanize the rural area by establishing more and more industry, but he is not able to arrange that much of fund, that much of capital. So is it not possible to convert the plan into action, as the deep investigation is not there. Last, economically, sometimes a project is abandoned just because it may not be very profitable. Sometimes the project, the idea which we have thought, it is not profitable because of labor cost, as labor are not available. So if we are going to hire selecting labor, employing labor from outside, obviously they will charge high salary, and if it is not profitable, it is not good for the businessman to start that type of business. That is clear. Next stage, that is next step, that is name approval. After feasibility study, obviously after getting all the things, we have to keep the company's name. We have to keeping the name for our company. We have to take the permission approval from registrar office, from government. As you know, two companies cannot have a same type of name, otherwise the customer are not able to differentiate between them. So it's very necessary for every company to get its name approved from the registrar, so that registrar, he will, while he is entering the name or giving priority or giving approval for the name, for the approved name, he can check that it will not match with any other company. So it doesn't match, because of that it doesn't match with any other company. Generally company, they give these name in order of priority to the registrar. The registrar match the name with the name of other companies, what name you have given, and if it is not identical, means which are not same, then the registrar will approve the company's name. That is clear. Next, that is fixing up signatory to memorandum of association. As promoter, they have to decide about the people by whom the company's securities, the company's documents are to be signed. Who will be signing the memorandum? Usually, the memorandum have signed by the directors, and those who are the signatory of memorandum, he becomes the first director of the company. Those who are signing that memorandum, he becomes the first director of the company. The promoter, he also take a written consent to act as a director and ask them to buy a qualification shares. Means he also asks from the board of members to whom they want to elect, and he can be signed as a memorandum of association, signatory of memorandum. That is clear. Next, that is appointment of professional. The promoter, obviously, after the next step, he is going to appoint some professional like brokers, underwriters, to make sure that whatever the capital is required, that will be available by selling the company's securities, and also they are going to appoint solicitors to deal with the legal matter of the company. That legal advisor they should appoint for dealing with the legal matter of the company. Bankers are also appointed for dealing a smooth financing of the company. That is clear. Last step, that is preparation of necessary document. Now at the last step, it take up to prepare some legal document which has to be submitted in the registrar office at the time of registration, at the time of incorporation. And which are the common documents? That are memorandum of association, article of association, prospectus, etc. That we will discuss in the later topics. That is clear. Now these are the stage of promotion. These steps are to be in the promotion stage. Now I am going to make you another stage for the formation of company, that is incorporation stage. That is the second stage that we require to perform for the formation of company. It means registration of company under the Company Act 1956. Now what steps we have to follow? That first, filling of necessary document. As you know, once the registrar he approve your name, you have to submit some documents with the registrar office, and these are memorandum of association, article of association, statement of authorized capital, for how much capital your company is going to be registered, a list of director with their names, address, occupation and age, next, that is a written consent. Consent means which a statement on which the people they have agreed. The written consent of the director to act as a director, that we are agreeing all the policy and we are act as a director of this company. Notice of the address of the registrar office of the company, and a legal declaration that is stating whatever the formalities which is related to which is required to form the company are duly completed. Then next, payment of fees. Along with submitting all the above document, a prescribed required fees for getting registration, it also have to be deposited in the registrar office. The amount of registration fees, that is depend upon the amount of registered capital or for how much amount your company is going to be registered. That is clear. Next step, that is registration. After that, after paying the fees, registrar, he verify all the document which have been submitted by the promoter. He also check the fee receipt which you have deposited, and after when he satisfying all the validity and authenticity of the document, he is going to enter the name of the company in his register. That is clear. Next, that is last, that is certificate of incorporation. After entering the name of the company in the registrar, now the registrar is going to issue a certificate of incorporation or certificate of registration, and from this date onward, the company is to be considered as a separate legal entity. Clear? In that, when the certificate of incorporation will effect legally, as you have got the certificate of incorporation, from that date only you will start your business activity. Either if you will get your certificate after 2 days or 3 days. Suppose your company, you have got the incorporation certificate on 7th May 2020. So from this day, you have certificate of incorporation. It was issued on 7th May 2020. But you will get it on 8th May 2020. Then you will start your work after issuing the certificate of incorporation on that date only. You will start your work, means on 7th May 2020 you will start your work. That is clear? That is clear to everyone? Okay. Yes. Now, if I am talking about private company, so after getting a certificate of incorporation, private company get formed, means they can start their business. The private company, they can start their business. It can start their business after getting the incorporation certificate. But for a public limited company, they have to perform 2 more stages for getting the commencement of business certificate. So in that, the third stage, the public limited have to follow, that is capital subscription stage. In that, what steps is to be there in this stage? That is, first, that is SEBI approval. SEBI, that is Security Exchange Board of India. It is a government regulated body that control all the activities of the capital market to protect the interest of investors. The public limited company, they have to submit the all required information with SEBI before issuing its security in the capital market to general public. And company should not hide any material fact, from SEBI, because if they hide, according to the guidelines of Disclosure and Investor Protection 2000 Act, their registration will be cancelled. That is clear? So firstly, they have to in this first step, that they have to submit all the required information before issuing the securities to the general public. Next, they have to issue prospectus. A public company, they has to prepare another important document, and that is to be considered as prospectus. In prospectus, they have to mention all the things about the company's past performance, future growth, present situation, how much profit they are earning. All the things should be mentioned specified in the prospectus. It is a type of circular, or you can say invitation, for issued and also invite the general public. It is an invitation for inviting a general public for purchasing, for subscribing the shares of the company. And this document also has to be submitted with the registrar. That is clear. Next, that is appointment of bankers, brokers and underwriters. Appointment of bankers, broker and underwriter. Now after receiving and deposit the application money, for receiving and deposit application money, bankers are appointed. Obviously, to sell the shares, brokers are appointed that encourage the public investors to buy these companies shares, your company's shares. These brokers, they are charging commission also for performing their activity. And if the company is not sure of selling the whole lots of shares, it may appoint underwriter. If they don't want to sell their whole securities, they are going to appoint underwriter. ठीक है ना? Underwriters, they are also helping out the firm for selling the securities of the company, and they are also charging commission for performing their activity. Next step, that is minimum subscription. This is in this step, company makes sure that they doesn't have shortage of fund. So it is compulsory that company must receive application money for some minimum number of shares, and this process is called minimum subscription. It means a public company can allot the share to their shareholder after receiving this minimum subscription. As per the SEBI rules, company must receive 90% of the issued amount within 120 days of issuing prospectus. After issuing prospectus, within 120 days, they have to receive this minimum subscription. After that, they can allot the shares. For example, suppose company are planning to issue 20,000 shares. So for that, they have to receive within 120 days, approx on the application money of 18,000 they should receive on the 18,000 share. Then they are going to allot the share to the investors. Otherwise, if minimum subscription is not received, they have to return all the money, application money, to the investor within next 10 days. Next, that is application to the stock exchange. Obviously, any firm, they have to get registered itself or get listed, get listed in any of the stock exchange before selling its security to the general public. For that, for getting listed, the company may apply any of the recognized stock exchange to get this permission to selling their securities to the general public. In that, the stock exchange authority, they verify all the financial soundness of the firm and other factor of the company, and if they satisfied, then only the name of the company is to get listed under the stock exchange. And if firm doesn't get permission from stock exchange within 10 weeks, then they have whatever the amount they have received, and even allotment can also be not legal. The allotment will become void, and whatever the application money they have received, they have to return it to the investors. That is clear. Last, that is allotment of shares. After getting the company's name listed in the stock exchange, the company, they have to prepare a return of allotment. Return, RETURN, return of allotment. Return of allotment, it is a statement that gives the detail about the name and address of all the shareholder. In this statement, they have to submit with registrar office, and also stating the name, address and the number of share which is to be allotted to each shareholder to the registrar office, to the registrar. That is clear. These are the steps that is to be performed by the public company, that is the third for public limited company. Last, that is commencement of business. Commencement of business means after subscribing the security and receiving the minimum subscription of the issuing shares, the company they have to apply for getting a certificate, for issuing the certificate of commencement of business to the in the registrar office. Along with the application, the company must submit some following documents. These are declaration, one declaration that specified, that is state that the shares which are payable in cash have been subscribed, and for the issuing shares of that minimum subscription has been received. Minimum subscription has been received. Next, that is a declaration that every director, in that declaration they state that every director has paid in cash their application and allotment money what share they have prescribed. One more declaration that no money is pending to pay back to the applicant. And last, one declaration that have been specified state that whatever the above requirement have been compelled with, these all declaration are right and it can be signed by the director or the secretary of the company. After that, registrar he verify all the documents and declaration which have been submitted by the company, and when he is satisfying, if he is satisfying with the validity of this document, then he can issue, then he will issue a certificate of commencement of business. And for that, from this, for after getting the commencement certificate of commencement of business, the public company, limited company, they will also start their activity. Clear? Good morning, student. Now the next topic, that is important document which is used for the formation of company, which is used in the formation of company. Some documents which company, the people, group of people, they have to deposit, submit these three important documents for getting the registration. That is memorandum of association, article of association, prospectus. So one by one we are going to understand what are these document, and then we will get to know what documents are, how this workable in the formation of company. That is clear. First, that is memorandum of association. That is an important or a principal document of the company. It is also considered as a charter of the company because it contains the power and objective of the company. It also describes the scope and limitation of the company. And it can be changed, it can be altered only according to the provision which is to be made under the Company Act regarding its alteration. Okay? As it provides the information to the outsider such as creditor, supplier, etc., to make them known about the limitation and scope of company's dealing way. That's why it is also considered as doctrine of outside management. Doctrine of outside management. In that, I am going to make you understand the contents which is to be contained under the memorandum of association. Some clauses are there, then we are going to discuss. First clause, that is name clause. This clause, it contains the complete name of the company. Company can choose any name, whatever they wish, but with the following restriction. These are that if I am talking about the public limited company, the name of company must end with limited. The main and the name of company must be end with limited in case of public company, and if I am talking about private limited company, the name of that private limited company must be end with private limited. Clear? Another thing that we have to got to know that name should not be similar with any other company. Name should not contain cooperative word. Name should not convey any connection with a government department. That is clear. That restriction should be kept before keeping the name of the company, before choosing the name of the company. That is clear. If we want to change the company's name, the procedure is there that a company can change its name only by passing a special resolution and also by obtaining a written approval from the central government. Then they are able to change the name clause. That is clear. Next, that is situation / domicile clause. This clause, it include the name of state in which registered office of the company is situated. It is necessary because as company get the registration from that state only where it is situated. So the registered office, that is the place where all the document of the company can be kept. Even a company must have registered office. Their registered office when they start its business activity or within 30 days of registration, whichever is earlier. That is clear. If they want to make changes in this clause, how can it be there? If the registered office is to be shifted from one state to another state, for that they have to pass one special resolution and also getting a permission from registrar of both the state, then they are able to shift from one state to another. Next, if they want to shift from one town to another town in the same state, for that they have to pass a special resolution only before the registrar. If they want to shift from one locality to another locality within the same town, then they have to pass an ordinary resolution only to shift their registered office from one locality to another within the same town. That is clear. That is situation domicile clause. Next clause, that is object clause. That is the most important clause of memorandum of association because it includes the main objective of the company and other secondary objective that company may pursue. This clause, it defines the scope, limitation and activity of the company. The object must be defined keeping in mind the following condition. That is, these are object must be legal, must not be immoral. The object must be legal and the object must not be immoral, and the object should not against the provision of any law. Clear? If the company want to change or alter in the object clause, for making changes in its objective, a company must pass only a special resolution and also obtaining the permission from company law board. After that, they are able to make changes in the object clause. That is clear. Next, that is liability clause. This clause, it tells the liability of member of the company. If I am talking about in case of limited by shares company, company which is limited by share, the liability of the member in that I have taught you, that is limited to the extent of unpaid of their share capital. For example, suppose one person is having 1000 share of which is of 10 rupees each, and he has paid 7 per share each. So at the time of winding up, his liability will be 3000, that is 3 unpaid share that he hasn't paid, 3 rupees unpaid share that he hasn't paid to the company. He is liable for that much amount. That is clear? And in case of company which is limited by guarantee, what amount of liability he has guaranteed, he will be liable for the same. That is clear? If any changes can be done by the company for the alteration in the liability clause, company must pass a ordinary resolution in a meeting of its member, and they can make the changes in the liability clause. Clear? Next, that is capital clause. Next, that is capital clause. Now, in this clause, it is specify the amount of share capital for which the company is to be registered, and whatever the amount the capital the company is registered is called registered or authorized or nominal capital, and company can issue only that number of share for which they have authorized in the memorandum of association. Clear? If they want to make any changes in the capital clause, how can it be possible? A company can make changes in the capital clause by passing a special resolution and also obtaining a permission approval from company law board. After, in that condition, the company is able to make in the capital clause. Now, the next or the last clause, that is subscription clause. It is also considered as association clause. In this clause, it includes the declaration which have been given by the director, and in that declaration, the director stating that we, the several person whose name and address are submitted, and we are desirous having a feature of we are desire of being formed into a company according to the memorandum of association, and we also undertake the qualification shares which qualified as a director of the company, and this declaration must be signed by all the director of the company and submitted to the registrar. All is clear? If we want to make changes, if the company want to make changes in that, alteration in this clause cannot be there. Means this clause cannot be changed, cannot be altered. It will remain same for a lifetime of company. Clear? Now, the next document, that is Article of Association. Article of Association. Article of Association, it includes the rules and regulation regarding the management of company, of the internal matters. Means how to manage the internal matter. They made a code of conduct. This include code of conduct, rules and regulation. That is to be considered as Article of Association. It also defines the power, authority, duties and rights of manager, officers and board of director. Generally, all the company, they have made their own Article of Association. But in case, if any company, they do not want to prepare their own Article of Association, so then they can select any one of the Article of Association which is given in Table F of Company Act, And in this table F in the Company Act, 99 model of articulation that is given in that column. Company can select any 99 anyone from the 99 models. Clear? That will help them to manage the internal matter of the company. Clear? The main contents of articulation are amount of share capital and different class of shares. What are the amount of different shares and what are its class? It also contain the rights of each shareholder. It also contain procedure for making allotment of share. What are the procedure for making allotment? That is to be specified in the article of association. It also specify the transfer of shares. If anyone can transfer their share from to other person, then what is the procedure for that? That is also mentioned in it. Next, that is issuing shares certificate. That is also the procedure is also specified in the article of association for issuing share certificates. They also specify the feature for the forfeited of shares. Forfeiture means, suppose if one shareholder he has subscribed 1000 share, these are of 10 each, and for that he has paid only 7 rupees, and at the end of accounting year his unpaid amount he hasn't paid. So whatever the amount he has paid on the shares that he has subscribed, that can be forfeited, means it can be deposited by the company, means company will not return any amount to the shareholder. Clear? So that procedure should also be specified. In that, the duties, power and remuneration of director should also mention. The procedure for conducting meeting, procedure for declaration and payment of dividend should also be mentioned, specified in article of association. So these are the things which is to be specified in article of association. Suppose if company want to make any changes, so for alteration of article association, they can make changes in their AOA, that is article of association, by passing a special resolution by keeping some following condition in their mind. Means whatever the changes, it must not be against the provision of MOA, that is against Memorandum of Association and Company Act. The change may not result in the breach of contract with outsider. The change, it must be in the interest of the company. Clear? So by keeping these things, the company make changes by passing only a special resolution. Now next, that is the last document, that is prospectus. This prospectus document, a company which is a public limited company which is limited by shares must issue their prospectus if they want to make an appeal to the public that they can subscribe their shares or debenture according to the information. According to the Company Act 1956, if I am talking about prospectus, it is a document that invite offers from public for the purchase of any share or debenture of that company. In general word, we can say that any document which invite a general public to invest their money in the securities of the public limited company are to be considered as what? Prospectus. That is clear? Some essential elements are there for prospectus, that it must be an invitation to the public at large. Invitation must be on behalf of the company. Invitation must be subscribed or purchase its share or debenture. That is clear to everyone. So these are three important documents which is to be used by the company. Clear? Now the last topic of the chapter, that is choice of form of business. Choice of form of business enterprises. Obviously we have gone through with different form of business. Now we have analyzed their advantage and disadvantage and its features. Now after that, what factor we should keep before choosing the which form of business, type of business. Clear? So in that I am going to make you explain some factors which should keep in mind before selecting the types of business. First that is nature of business. The type of business, that is the most important factor for selecting which form of business we should prefer. So if the business it require a personal attention, direct contact, then we should prefer sole proprietorship and partnership form of business. If the business require for it is to be established for rendering the services, then obviously we should prefer cooperative organization. But if the business require heavy investment, then they should prefer which form of business? Obviously company form of business. Clear? If I am giving the example, suppose small retailers, they should prefer which form of business? Obviously sole proprietorship, as these type of shops require a personal attention. Clear? So departmental stores, basic stores, they can prefer what company form of business. Clear? Next, partnership etc. Professional like CA, lawyers, etc. they prefer partnership form of business. Departmental stores, basic industries, they have to form what type of business? That is your company form of business. Next, that is capital consideration. The other important factor we should keep in mind and it will help to decide which form of business we should prefer, that is finance. If the person is having less amount of finance, obviously they should prefer sole proprietorship of business and partnership form of business. Whereas if the persons or group of persons, they are having a huge financial resource, then they should prefer what? That is company form of business. Clear? Degree of control. If the businessman, they want the complete and independent control over the business activities, then they should prefer sole proprietorship form. But if they don't mind to sharing the control, then they should prefer partnership or company form of business. Clear? Next factor that will be decided or help you to decide which form of business, that is legal formalities. If I am talking about legal formalities, if businessman, they want to avoid this legal formality, the long process, the legal procedure, and they only wish to prefer a easy formation and dissolution of business, then they must prefer sole proprietorship and partnership. Whereas if the group of person, they wish to go through with the legal formalities and they should go through the legal activities, and after that they want to establish the business, then they will prefer company form and cooperative form of business. Clear? Next, that is liability. The other important factor which help the people for selecting which form of business they prefer, that is liability of member, degree of risk. That is clear? For example, the enterprises which have high risk, which have high risk. So in that, the group of people, they should prefer company form of business or cooperative organization, because in that the liability of members is limited up to their their capital which they have invested. And because of unlimited liability, the people, they avoid sole proprietorship. And if the business is less risky, that is clear, and they don't have any problem, so they should prefer sole proprietorship and partnership form of business. But people, they are avoiding to go with the sole proprietorship and partnership because it has unlimited liability. Clear? Last, that is continuity. Under this factor, continuity, if the business are to be established for temporary or for ad hoc business activity period, so obviously they should prefer which form of business, that is sole proprietorship and partnership form, as these are easy to form and easy to dissolve, and they don't require any legal formalities, any legal procedure to form and to wind up. Clear? But the enterprises the entrepreneurs which they want to establish their business for a long run and for permanent period, they should prefer which form of business? They should prefer company form of business, so they can arrange a large fund, large amount of capital, and expand their business and establish in a well manner. Clear? So these factors are interrelated and interdependent. After that, after analyzing all the form of business and keeping the factors which we have discussed, they can select the business which they wish. That is clear to everyone. The chapter have finished.